Hey everybody, thanks for pressing play. In this video I want to show you how to use a Diamant Pro User bike rack. So in this case it's going to be a bike rack that's going to support 3 bikes on this flange ball tow bar back here. Anyway, start off by lifting it up. So there's a handle you can use to grab. So what you want to do is lift it onto the flange ball socket of the tow bar and then push down the lever to secure it in place. After that though, you want this little slider to move inwards and then you lock it in place, and that means now it can't move and it's now secure sitting on the tow bar. The next step then is to fold everything out. So it's pretty straightforward. Fold it out flat, and then the lights, they come around like so. They will slide across and then they'll sit into these little grooved sections here which secure them in place. The number plate then, when it's actually stored, it's upside down. So what you want to do is release it over here on this side here. So just lift that upwards, it pops out of these little grooves. And then when you're bringing it around to the other side, there's a little section here you can slot it into, but you got to pull this back to allow it to actually sit in place. And now you know it's secured, so it won't go anywhere at all. The other thing is, if you're putting a number plate in, that slides upwards and allows you to slot the number plate in place. The other light then needs to come out. So again, bring it back, slide it across, and then push down into the grooves. In terms of actually when you're using it, when the bikes are on it, you can still access your boot. So put your foot along here and it slides back. Use the lever to pull it away. And that means now you got access to the boot. So sometimes people worry about that. You can still always access your boot even when the bikes are on there. So that's really, really useful. And then when you want to close down the boot, close it and just a little bit of force, push it back in place and it's solid. The wheels of the bicycles will actually sit into these little saddles here. And depending on the size of the bike, they're also adjustable. But if you see along here, you just have to twist this open to secure it in place to allow it to move, or once you're finished to actually secure it in place and keep it there. The bikes will also need to be secured at the top as well. So you have these little grabbers along through here. There's 3 different lengths. So when you go to adjust these, you got to make sure they're open. So you see the way it'll keep twisting unless you've actually opened up the key. So there's no effect when it's only twisting like that. So you got to open up the lock. And once the lock is open, then you can actually start twisting it and it's opening out the grabber then. Once it's completely opened, you can push it upwards and it allows you then to actually open up this section here, which is the clamp that's going to sit onto the bike rack itself. And once it's loosened, you're also going to be able to adjust this section here, which is going to actually grab a hold of the bike. So like we're saying, once it's opened up, you get the clamp, you have it opened, you sit it onto the rack here itself, and then you secure it in place by tightening everything back up and locking it. So finally then we want to get the lights working. So there's a socket in through here. You pull out the socket, there's a cover on it with 2 endings depending on the type of socket that's on your tow bar. So in Ireland you'll usually have this 7-pin setup, but in Europe you might have the other one. Anyway, if you go to put that onto the socket, just watch here, there's a little line. You got to line that up. When you're actually putting it into the light socket, it's got to line up with that, or else it won't go in far enough to actually get the lights working. So once that's plugged in, then that means the lights are now operating and you are pretty much ready to go. So that's it. That means you're ready to go from the point of view of driving with the 3 bikes in the back. But then also you will need to take it off at some stage. So just to show you, it's the reverse. But once you kind of put it on, it makes much more sense to you when you're taking it off. So let's just show you how to take it off. Tearing it back down is really straightforward. You just pull out this socket along through here and you're going to put it back into its place. Put a little cover back on to make sure that's protected. Push it down in here and that's that part done. And then after that, the lights, they're going to do the exact opposite. So pop up, twist back, slide across and all the way up in here. And then the same thing with the number plate. You pull back the little lever, it secures it, push it all the way around until it clicks into those 2 little grooves along through here, and that means it's secured in place then. Push up these sections on either side. They're very, very straightforward. And that means then once you have them sections back up, it's now ready to be lifted straight back off. When you go to lift it, remember, you got to open up the key and then you got to pull the slider back, and then using the lever, you can lift it off. And that means you're complete. And depending what kind of tow bar you have, sometimes you might also have a retractable socket. So that means you can get the socket, push it back out of place, and it's nice and neat. So there you have it. That is a quick guide to a Diamant Pro User 3 bike rack, how to take it on and put it off. Anyway, I hope the video has been useful. It might help someone, because I know things like that, sometimes you go to do them. I find them intimidating unless I've done it before. So hopefully it's going to be useful. Thanks for taking time to watch.